the legal moves that protect you before you exit, and the precise moments that separate a quick stop from a nightmare scenario. 2. Force clarity with one critical question. Another moment that decides everything arrives with how the officer phrases their request. Officers use soft, polite language designed to make you move without thinking. Listen to these two statements. Can you step out of the vehicle for a moment? Versus step out of the vehicle. One is a request. The other is an order. The law treats these completely differently. When an officer asks, "Can you step out?" that is a request. A request means you have a choice. You can say no. Nothing bad happens if you decline because they have not given you a lawful command. When an officer says step out of the vehicle in a directive tone, that becomes an order. Orders carry legal weight under MIMS. Requests do not. Most officers intentionally blur this line. They use request language to make it feel voluntary, but their tone suggests it is mandatory. This confusion is by design. Many drivers step out thinking they had no choice when they were never ordered to do so. Once you step out voluntarily, everything that follows becomes harder to challenge. The solution is one sentence. Officer, are you asking me or ordering me to step out? This question is not rude. It is clarity, and clarity protects you. When you ask this, 3 things happen. The officer must reveal their true intention. The situation becomes crystal clear on your recording. You avoid stepping out voluntarily when you did not have to. Smart drivers do not guess. They clarify. 3. Demand the lawful reason for any order. Another critical moment arrives right after you establish it is an order, not a request. Once confirmed, the officer must have a legal reason. An officer cannot order you out just because they are curious or uncomfortable. The moment they give an order, they're using legal authority. Legal authority always needs a legal reason. Pennsylvania versus MIMS allows officers to order drivers out only when connected to legitimate safety concerns. But MIMS does not mean any order is automatically valid. The officer still needs a clear, specific explanation. Your next move is simple and powerful. For the record, what is the lawful moment happens in the 3 seconds before your hand touches the door handle. Most drivers rush. They react instantly, swing open the door, and do not think about what is being recorded. The second you exit, the officer gains visual control, physical access, and more freedom to move you around. Before you move even an inch, announce your compliance and why you're doing it. I am complying under protest, and my hands will stay visible. This line does 3 things at once. It tells the officer you are following their order, removing any excuse to claim you were resisting. It shows on camera you did not want to get out voluntarily, protecting you if the order was illegal. It keeps focus on your hands, preventing misunderstandings about sudden movements. Most legal problems during traffic stops do not start with words. They start when an officer says they saw a quick movement or could not see your hands. By announcing your actions out loud, you control the narrative. From experience, your recording matters most before you open the door. Once you're outside, the camera angle changes, your environment changes, and the officer has more control. Saying your line before exiting locks in your protection before anything else happens. This 3-second move is small, but it is the smartest thing you can do. If you find this useful so far, make sure you're subscribed. We break down real-world situations like this every week, so you're prepared before you ever need it. 5. Recognize when your rights change outside the vehicle. Another shift happens the moment you step out. Everything about the traffic stop transforms because the law sees you differently depending on where you're standing. Inside your car, you're in a private space. The officer's access is limited. Their ability to move you is limited. The moment your foot touches the ground, that protection changes. Now you're in public space. Public space gives the officer far more control. When you're outside, an officer can position you where they want. Beside the car, in front of the patrol unit, away from your passengers. They can ask more direct questions, observe your body language more closely, and monitor every movement you make. They can separate you from passengers, removing the safety of having witnesses beside you. Inside the car, everything you do is contained. Outside, your behavior is fully exposed. Even simple actions like adjusting clothing, turning your body, or looking around can be misread or used to justify further investigation. Being outside also changes how searches work. Your exit sometimes gives them more room to claim suspicious behavior or safety concerns. Many escalations begin right after a driver steps out. Not because the person did anything wrong, but because the officer now sees more angles, more movements, and more chances to interpret something incorrectly. That is why your words before exiting matter so much. They make it clear you did not step out willingly, protecting you if things move in a questionable direction. Understanding this shift does not make the situation harder. It makes you smarter. Drivers who understand how the law changes the moment they step out stay safe, protected, and in control. 6. Never explain your actions or admit fault outside. Another quiet danger appears once you are standing outside the vehicle. The officer has more control. Many drivers feel pressure to explain themselves. Speed, distraction, timing, fatigue. Explanations feel human, yet they work against you. An admission does far more than express honesty. It becomes a recorded statement that can outlive the stop itself. Officers document what drivers say. A sentence spoken casually can appear later as confirmation of a violation. Saying you were distracted, late, or tired reframes the stop around personal behavior rather than observable facts. This move asks for restraint. Silence feels uncomfortable, especially for people who value politeness. Still, professionalism flows both ways. The officer handles observation and enforcement. You handle compliance with required steps. Mixing those roles creates risk. From experience, cases often hinge on words volunteered at this stage. Drivers remember the stop. Reports remember admissions. By avoiding explanations, you preserve flexibility later. The encounter stays grounded in what the officer observed, rather than what you supplied. Once you are outside, silence becomes even more valuable. The environment is less controlled. Your words carry more weight. Keep answers minimal and factual. 7. Stay silent when questions turn investigative. Another shift often goes unnoticed once you are outside. The officer's tone softens. Questions feel conversational. Topics widen. This separates traffic enforcement from investigation. Investigative questions seek patterns. Where are you coming from? What were you doing tonight? These questions build timelines that can be tested and used against you. In Salinas versus Texas, 2013, the Supreme Court examined how silence functions during police questioning, reinforcing that speech choices shape legal outcomes. Calmly choosing silence avoids misinterpretation while preserving professionalism. You can respond, "I prefer to keep my answers limited." This phrasing stays respectful while drawing a clear line. It does not accuse or challenge. It simply declines participation in narrative building. I have seen investigations grow from harmless chatter. A timeline becomes a test. A test becomes suspicion. Silence interrupts that chain. This move requires discipline. Social instincts push speech forward. Confidence pulls it back. Silence keeps the stop anchored. Both answers give you information that shapes your next decision. This move frequently marks the line between inconvenience and consequence. 9. Save all arguments for court, not the roadside. Another costly mistake happens when drivers try to debate enforcement decisions while standing outside their vehicle. Logic, fairness, and frustration mix poorly under flashing lights. The roadside rewards compliance and clarity, not persuasion. Courts consistently recognize that the street serves enforcement, while the courtroom serves argument. Roadside arguments rarely change outcomes. They extend encounters, harden tone, and invite additional scrutiny. This move requires patience. Disagreement feels urgent in the moment. Still, timing matters. Documentation, legal standards, and review exist elsewhere. Preserving those options depends on keeping the roadside calm. I have seen strong cases weakened by roadside debates captured on camera. Silence and compliance protected others until the court resolved the issue cleanly. Think of the stop as temporary and the record as permanent. Once you're outside your vehicle, you have already entered a more vulnerable position. Arguing from that position rarely improves your situation. Accept the citation if issued. Document what happened. Preserve your recording. Then address the merits later, where control, clarity, and restraint when pressure rises. Know the difference between a request and an order.